cool. La, la, la. Boom. Good. Well, anyways, good morning. It is Friday, the 23rd of February, 2018. This is your daily Forex trading strategy session. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. The past performance, good or bad, necessarily indicative of future results, so please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford those. Look at this room I'm in. That's the wall. I'm touching the wall. It's like, there it is. Right? And then I'm in a room, well, a little bit bigger than what you see. You see almost the entire room. How cool is that, huh? So I'm in, yeah, like I said before, I'm in I'm in a study pod in the basement of Cabot Library in the Science Center at Harvard University. Very cool to have you guys here. With you for your patience getting things set up. My name is Wayne McDonell. I am FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you very much for being a client. Also, thank you for posting your analysis at Forex.Today. I think we have a very powerful community. It's not about sharing trade ideas per se. It's about refining your analysis capability. So having some sort of, how you say, a responsibility to carry out your analysis. Right? So anyways, thank you for making Forex.Today awesome, and thank you for being a client of TradersWay. Let me switch it over to desktop sharing. Nice. All right, so this is not a bad setup. I'm okay. I feel good. So anyway, so I'll do a similar webinar in a similar pod on Monday as well. And let me tell you, if you're at Harvard in the summer, there's thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, most of which are students, hanging around there. Oh, look, this is Harvard, right? Walked here this morning, there wasn't a soul. Nobody. Nobody. Oh, my voice is low. That's probably a. Let's see if I can turn it. Hang on. So sound. Let's see. Sound recording devices, maybe. Well, you know, it says I'm okay, but I don't want to mess around with it too much, and I don't want to spend the next. So hopefully it's okay. Yeah. Well, no. So, anyways, let's move on to .com. So, anyways, let's take a look. The last time I used this laptop, we were at the one of the boardrooms at the top of Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong. I think we were on the 128th floor. Right. So anyway, so I noticed it's still set on Hong Kong time. So anyway, so the charts are still set up based on that. So let's just start where we left off. Let's take a look at the pound yen 15-minute chart. It's not going to be my typical pivots. These are my old school pivots. Good enough, right? And what do these pivots tell us about the pound yen? First of all, top of the month began right where it should begin. Or began where it should have begun at the beginning of the month if you were a bear. Okay? So if you were a bear, you would look at this and say, okay, well, I want this to be bearish. I wonder if it'll double top here. This is the take profit zone for last month. And here's the bearish entry for this month, right? So February, that was a little bit higher, but you had to play in the weeklies as well, right? But as far as kind of, you know, we're near the end of the month of February, right? It's the 23rd. So are we in the right place for this time of the month? Well, this is the right place for the beginning of them. If that is the top, the projected bottom is this green zone, and here we are at the 23rd of the month. I mean, it's a short month, right? We've well hit our target, which is good, right? Means it works. All right, so you guys are really struggling to hear me, is that right? All right, let me see. It's going to be a window thing. All right, I'll turn the camera off. Oh. Yeah, for some reason their login wouldn't accept, the internet login wouldn't accept my student ID, so I had to create a guest ID, and so maybe they're giving me a lame out internet or something. But how's that? So I dropped the camera. That should improve. Record volume. This is going to be a Windows thing. It's going to be a Windows issue now, I believe. And I hate messing with that. Oh, it does sound better? Maybe they are. I can't quite see. It looks like there's organic material in the wall. So they have this metal. I guess you can't see it now. They have this metal. Inside of it, it looks like barley or something. Yeah. So anyways, hopefully we can just keep going. So one of the things that brings me pleasure is that what's supposed to happen has happened for the month, right? Now, what happened the previous month? Well, if this is your bottom, the projected top is here. Beautiful, right? Remember, these lines are drawn on the very first day. I don't know where to increase your the microphone for you. It looks like it hears me pretty good. Configure speech, disable properties. Was it configure maybe? See, I don't want to get into all this in the middle of a webinar. Yeah, how about this? Maybe that'll help a little bit. Come out to meet you. Tell you I'm sorry. Oh, let's go back to the start. Yeah, thank you. All right. Oops. Let's see what else is here. So anyways, that's good, right? If you're trading the beast, take a look at Euro. It changes to a 4-hour. What do you know about the weekly now? These are weekly pivots. The previous one were monthly. Well, going back 3 weeks, we topped out at M3, which predicts the green zone for a bottom. That was nice. That was perfect. Great for a bear. Now, you can imagine on top of this, probably a monthly pivot that set that up. So this is an exercise of having a monthly plan and then folding your weekly plans into that. right? So you got a monthly swing with weekly swings inside of it, and that's the fractal nature of the market. So if you watch videos in the trainings, you know, I do one on chaos theory, right, and fractal geometry. Have you guys watched that? I did that like 10 years ago. It's in the video. It's on FX Bootcamp. You probably saw it if you did summer school last year or something like that. The chaos theory and fractal geometry. So what we're talking about here is that you need to have a monthly plan, a weekly plan, a daily plan, a plan for the London session or for the New York session. I don't think it's a specific it's not in the basic training program. I don't know. It's in there somewhere with it. So if you've paid for that, it's there. But so that's one of the things, like once you get your basic technical analysis down, that's your next challenge typically, right? Where you have to fold one plan into another. And advanced trading is where you're short-term short, but long-term long. And I don't think you actually need to be that way. You know, and this idea of us starting a mock fund together and having you be a portfolio manager actually removes all of that, because, you know, I don't think it's even required. And I think what happens is you end up being mediocre as a bull and mediocre as a bear. I'd rather you just be awesome as one or the other. So anyways, look at this. You can see the following week was sort of an inside week. The bulls were supposed to buy here and they didn't, which maybe could be useful information to the trader, right? So you'll see that these pivots squeeze. We call this an inside week essentially. And then check this out. If you were a bear, which you were a bear here, right? You went from M3 to M1 area. Look at this. M3 is the top. So we should be on our way to this, which looks like about 130.5. Cool, right? Oh, yeah, it might have been in the fundamentals course because of the chaos theory part. So in the chaos theory part of that video, you're right, I would put that in the fundamental course. That's right. Because I talk about the butterfly effect, right? Where a butterfly flaps its wing in Indiana and causes a monsoon in India. So we can talk about causation and correlation and stuff. So, yeah, what were you doing 10 years ago? It should have been there. It's funny how the human mind works. I remember giving it. I can't remember too much of the specifics, but I still remember. I can tell you, I can remember doing it. So I'm glad I don't do those dog and pony shows anymore. All right. Now what? So we got our euro dollar. What can we see here? Very mediocre, except, do you remember? We were kind of talking about this on Friday, right? On Friday, we're talking about, hey, people are probably going to take their profit. If you're bearish, this is sort of setting up for you for this week's move. Even though we were not in this week, right? On Friday, we were talking about what we should be doing Monday. That's the difference, right? So here we are, like basically New York open on Friday, and we're saying, hey, you know what? If you're a bear and you want to be short Monday, you could start about it now, because we can anticipate some profit taking, which gives you an opportunity to get into a trade and then jam your stop, right? And then if things go well, it continues. I think Ryan, I got to pick on Ryan, right? Ryan's such a nice. I think Ryan was buying here, right? And I said, well, I think, I know why you're doing it. I totally get it. Nothing wrong with it, but I think it's coming down here. So, so if you take two geniuses, we're going to butt heads, right? And reality will kick in and it'll do neither. It'll do neither. It'll sit in the middle here for some reason. Brooks says, I still believe we'll get a lower low. Yeah, whatever. That's the thing, like, belief what? Who cares? So to me, right, I'm either a bull or a bear. This is actually, I'm kind of neither, to be honest with you. But, in this situation, what we're talking about is I'll either buy it at 2030 or I'll buy it at 20, well, let's say 20, let's dumb it down. I'll either buy it at 23 or 22.50. Like, believe it'll go lower or higher, it's sort of irrelevant. Believe what? I don't believe anything. But if there's support and it starts to go up, especially key levels, like I would like to buy it at this this weekly M2. You know what I mean? I would. It'd be great. I'd love to buy it at the weekly M2. I remember we talked about it too, 123.20. And I think it was Wednesday morning. I was shaving or something, and on Bloomberg they're like, "Hey, let's check in on the FX market. Yeah, euro dollar at 123.20," and I'm like, "Uh-huh." I'm shaving. I'm like, sure enough, who would have thought that? Because we had talked about it the day before. So, anyways, so to me, I don't believe it's going to go down. I don't believe it will go up. I don't believe anything. It's just, it is what it is. So I wouldn't, if I were a buyer, I'd like it to come down a little bit more. But if it gets hung up on 23,000, sure. All right. Do I want to be aggressive here? Well, I have to make a decision. If I'm a hardcore bear, I do want to sell off this 21. But see, because we haven't made a lower low yet, I don't see it as a trend. Not with this setup. I mean, look, I could back out or something and change things, right? So I look at this, and am I aggressively bearish? No, actually, I wouldn't, right? So Brooks like, well, I believe it'll go down. Well, I don't believe anything. What I suppose if I believed something, I'd say I believe we're in a range, and that's kind of why. I don't remember when we said it. Was it Monday? Ryan's like, I want to buy it at this M2, 123.20 or 123.00. I'm like, yeah, well, a little further. The only reason that I said that is, to me, it just seems range bound, and I don't have a bullish setup. I don't have a bearish setup. So how do you play this thing, guys? As pivot points. If you believe it's sideways, like what did I write in my book? I used to say 8 years ago. Now it was 10 years ago or something, right? What did I put in the book? If you're bullish, there's a buy zone, and if you're bearish, there's a zone, right? What pivots do you use if you believe it's generally sideways? If you're not bullish, if you're not bearish, if you believe the market's neutral. Yeah, Juan says S1, R1. Right? Yeah. What a neat observation, right? So imagine writing that 10 years ago. For me to write it, I had to have believed it back then, which means I would have had to have at least noticed it previous to believing it, and I had to believe it previous to writing it. Right? So isn't it interesting? So that means all I'm getting to is maybe 15 years ago, I looked at this and I really looked at how the market reverses. You remember the whole old man easing into a hot bath idea? Well, I'm looking at this too. I'm like, what are typically the pivot points where we go from trend to consolidation to either continuation or reversal, right? What do the pivots tell me about that? 15 years ago, those were the questions. Remember, there were no pivots 15 years ago. Brokers didn't give you charts 15 years ago. So anyways, I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? It has a propensity to top out at the S1R1. It tends, in a sideways market, support tends, resistance tends to hold, and we don't trend. So that's why I kind of look at here, I'm like, well, I'm not 100% on board either way, right? Now, you still, if you're a buyer, you want to buy it low. So down here is even better than 123.00. And if you want to sell it, you want to sell it high. And you might even say, you know, maybe this one makes you think this S1, whatever. That's your analysis. Oh my gosh. Ugh, I slept like 3 hours last night. Ugh. Thank you for your patience with me again today, guys. Things are difficult when I travel, but I hope you appreciate that I do my best to be available for you no matter what. Absolutely no matter what. Yeah. You should, I mean, literally I slept maybe 3 hours. I would have really enjoyed sleeping in today, right? But I got up and cleaned up, packed up, got to the university, all specifically for you. And then I'm going to try to slip into a class later and do some studying and stuff, but I'm exhausted. It's 8:04 in the morning. I'm exhausted. Like I should have slept in. But you know what? I'm very happy to be here. So sometimes the webinar quality drops only because of the different laptops and different setups and stuff. But I appreciate your patience, and hopefully the effort makes up for any drop in quality. Blood, sweat, and tears for years. Absolutely. Well, let me tell you, I've been complaining for weeks how cold it's been in Atlanta. So today in Atlanta, Georgia, it's going to be 80 degrees. The sun's out, all my flowers are flowering. Just, it's beautiful. I think it's going to be 40 degrees in Cambridge. Yeah! I'm like, snow? I'm wearing a scarf and a sweater and a blazer. So anyways, who cares? La 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 la. We want this. All right. What do you guys want to cover today? Let's do some crude. I'm crude and I'm brewed and I'm never losing. I'm in my pod and this is what I'm doing. Around the way is where I'm from, and I'm from Saskatchewan, and I'm not a bum. Yeah. Kitty cat inflation coming out. Yeah, right on. So check out. When I show these charts, I don't know your emotional response. Like I don't know where you are in your trading. I look at that and I hope you get it. I hope things start clicking in, like start clicking for you. Because I look at that, and that is so ridiculously perfect for trading. Like that is, it's just sick. It's sickening how straightforward that trade is. And I hope you made a lot of money. Now, there's a chance you don't trade oil. That's fine. There's a chance you probably also try to trade everything. And if you try to trade everything, you'll probably miss most things. And if you don't trade oil, you wouldn't have seen it anyways. But if you were an oil trader, right, you're trading WTI, that you're on this. I mean, this is crazy, absolutely ridiculously straightforward. a sell, and this is your target zone, right? I mean, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't that just amazing? And of course, we talked about that possibly happening on things like increased oil inventories and such, right? So we'll see if global macroeconomic data starts lurking back into the conversation of the market, right? Because it seemed to me like last week people were freaking out like it was the end of the world, right? The Fed's gonna jack up interest rates. The Fed, the Fed, the Fed. It's all over. And so that will really bring down oil, right? Because if the market's going to crash and slow down, then demand would weigh. But then if the market wakes up and says, you know what, maybe it's not as bad as I thought, maybe demand will be constant. Well, if that's the case, then maybe it comes back. So to me, I always like to pick one or the other. So I do want to bet on global macroeconomic improvement. I'll probably continue that bias for a few years, which means I can tell you that on the long run, on Y-bar, on the long run, I am going to essentially buy dips, which is a big difference from a year ago, right? If you recall, if you were with me 2, 3, 4 years ago, we were shorting oil day after day after day. And then we called a bottom and reversed and started buying those dips. And so we've been enjoying it up and down. And I'm still in that mode, generally speaking. Beautiful moves, though. The other thing you can look at is as oil goes up, it affects headline inflation, doesn't it? In a big way. So when our conversation about the euro, let's say, when oil was falling down, down, the ECB was doing quantitative easing, right? Spending trillions of euros. What happened to their inflation? Inflation was falling, which is a very tough situation if you're spending $1 trillion and not getting anything for it, right? You know? Oh, let's go back to the start. So, increasing macro or improving global macroeconomic conditions would generally lead increased demand for said product, and prices should improve. Okay? And as oil goes up, headline inflation will go up. And what would that have a tendency to do for central banks and economies around the world? Yeah, raise interest rates. Because remember, most central banks around the world are still very accommodative. Europe is still in emergency mode. Right, so Ryan says, we're going to start seeing a lot more hawkishness in hikes. So As a professional money manager, what do you recommend we do to make money? Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Boop, 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 boop. Buy. First of all, I don't know what you mean by buy because um, asset prices have already inflated, right? Buying was back in 2000. Yeah. Um, well, if you recall, what did we talk about maybe, I'm guessing, was it 2 months ago? Where I'm like, I think we're at a change and we need to start doing other stuff. Okay. That was a focus on commodities. Remember that? Commodities and exotic currencies. So we picked on the Turkish lira, for example, and we said, well, it's not that I think the Turkish economy is so much better. It was that the improvement in the United States, China, or in just globally in general, the general improvement of macro conditions have led the Fed to um, remove its extraordinary accommodative measures, right? Which then gives a foundation for the European Central Bank to get to its economy and get its situation so that it's bottomed out and is starting to improve, which it is, if according to economic data, and that over the next couple of years, they will also go from extraordinary accommodative policies to more normalization, which then leads to its large partners to then see its own improvements. And you could say, well, there's Switzerland and all that kind of stuff, but then who else would benefit? And I'd say, well, a lot of money used to flow to Turkey from the European Union because they wanted to put Turkey in as part of the EU and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of money's gone there, a lot of come out. Well, if things start improving in Europe again, those previous investors may want to start jumping back into Turkey because everyone's looking for the higher return. So once prices are high in the United States, I mean, I hope you remember these conversations, right? I said, look, the United States is overvalued. Right? I mean, or it's very expensive. I don't know if it's overvalued, but it's very expensive, right? So you get better deals in Europe. So that's why the euro is strong. And at some point, European prices, like say, to invest into a German car company or a Dutch export company or whatever, right? Let's say that gets expensive. Well, then you're going to want to put your money somewhere else and get higher returns, right? And so I'm already thinking ahead of that. So, so those were some of the things I was proposing a few months ago. So we're like, we could look at things like the Turkish lira. We started aggressively buying Turkish lira, right? I mean, we went years without me bringing up the Turkish lira, and all of a sudden we bring up the Turkish lira, right? And we caught this giant move here. Nice. Yeah, that's true. On the long run, again, that's Y bar. I don't want to get my drawing tool. I think it'll mess things up. But yeah, in the long run, the dollar should weaken. But at this time of year, we expect strong dollar. We're going to have one more month of strong dollar, and then kiss your dollar goodbye. Kiss your USD goodbye. So cool. Right? So there's a move there. La 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 la. So speaking about exotics, how much time until the Mexican peso trade? The first is Thursday of next week. So in 2 days, today is gonna be the day I'm gonna come back to you. By now, you shouldn't somehow realize what you got to do. So 2 trading days away from buying the Mexican peso. It's good, right? He's good, yeah. Isn't it nice to say, well, around Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to start buying Mexican peso. I don't believe that anybody trades the way I do. There are so many things I'd like to trade for you, but I don't know how. Maybe I'm gonna have to be the one that has my baby. All right, cool. So good now. I didn't say now. So I would like this to go up early next week and then drop it like it's hot. So let's throw in a line here and say, wouldn't that be a great to dump this? Okay, great. And then maybe let's do it this way. Gonna be the one that saves me, saves me, saves me. After all, you're wonderful. All right. So I don't have to say anything about this. I mean, that's clear. I mean, perfectly clear what you should do, right? Like I don't even need to explain that. I don't want to belittle the situation. Yeah. Hopefully that line is still there. I think it will be. Maybe. So let me explain, Lucy. Wouldn't it be cool if today, Monday and Tuesday, the dollar's strong? Why not? Around Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, we find ourselves up at this line, and that happens to be next week's WR2. Now, I don't have the pivots, the predictive pivots. Can anyone tell me if that's anywhere close like a weekly M4? Or weekly R2? Yeah. Thank you. La la la. I mean, I don't know. I'm just hoping. Just saying. Today's gonna be the day. Well, I don't care about WR1. It's the least important pivot. No, I know next week's M5. What's an M5? Unless today is going to be a ripper strong USD day and move the pivots, do you think we'll have a ginormous rally? It's hard to believe it'd be that big, huh? Ryan's like, it's just. Thanks, Ryan. What? Right? I might not be a smart man, but I know what the M5 is. Yeah, I know. It's just. So, anyways, yeah, I don't typically expect it to be a big deal. Um, Today, oh man. Yeah, I said it before the recording, but I'm a strong enough person to admit my failures. I'm pretty good at macroeconomics, right? I think I had my midterm on macroeconomics just yesterday or the day before, and I failed. I didn't even do bad. I failed. I'm an ace. I'm like, was a what? 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 Oh my God. I failed my macroeconomics midterm. Oh my God. So I don't know. I admit it, I don't do well on tests. I have an entrepreneurial mind. I don't fit well in the typical box, but oh my God, it's macroeconomics. I love macroeconomics. I can talk all day about macroeconomics. Oh my God. So I'm totally bummed, man. Totally bummed. I thought, I think I'm pretty good at macroeconomics. This stupid Harvard idiots, huh? They don't know crap. F them. Everybody here ain't great. So I'm a fighter, right? So I'm gonna fight, but jeez Louise. Totally bummed, man. Totally bummed. All right. So just imagine, huh? Yeah, I have a scar, huh? You know, I think actually, if you were to ask me, first of all, it was hard. So that's fair. I didn't expect to do well, right? But I expected to do at least average, right? Compared to everyone else. Average was only 59% was the average grade. So yeah, it was tough, right? So, but I figured I'd be in that curve, right? But there's a lot of questions where it's like A, B, C, A and B, right? Or A, B, and C. So you could look at it and I could say, well, A is definitely true, right? So, and then I'm not sure about the other two. And then you get in this thing. So anyways, I could let's say answer A and be quite partially correct because it is true. But the answer might be A and B, but not C. Well, I could look at say, well, I know it's definitely A, and C is definitely not right, but I'm not sure about B, and then you can ponder it and say, okay, well, I believe it's just A. And the real answer is A and B, and you don't get partial credit. It's just like F, you're wrong. I'm like, what? Zero credit. And I think what happened is on those types of questions, I didn't get the right one. I said A and it should have been A and B. That kind of stuff. I'm like, so son of a gun, right? All right, so what currency pair do you guys want to talk about then? Because I was just hoping that maybe there was going to be an overlap of weekly and monthly and bring this sucker down. CAD pairs. Yeah, I guess so with that coming up, right? Like my typical setup. So, uh, you know, it's one of these things like typically when I trade either dollar or yen. So I would typically look at USD CAD or USD yen. I'm not sure if that's entirely the right pair, but I don't know what else to be doing here because there's a lot of mumbo jumbo going on with the dollar, yen, so it's hard to isolate just the Canadian dollar, right? So having looked at oil, you should have formed some sort of opinion on oil and correlated that, right? Correlated that with your CAD plan. So we're at 127 and at a target for the week. So I don't know. Profit taking could or should or has already began, right? In here. And then, so there's some sell off. And then here's sort of a new buying area. Okay. Okay. So I don't know if you're a bull or a bear, but a bearish move has already begun. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 hours ago, you could have gone bearish on this, right? And in fact, you could be doing stuff like this. Right? Oh, there you go. Okay, now be careful. Here comes the snippy snap. Be careful. You are the one. Yeah, the stupid pivots aren't set up. I mean, the stupid fibs aren't set up. Yeah, Toomey says that's the target for the month too, which, I mean, it all leads you to be out or short, right? Got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. And so what I was trying to do here is show you that this is support in here. So bulls are buyers here, and bears should be sellers up here, and amateurs are trading now, right? You understand? Now amateurs are getting involved. Well, why didn't you just sell it yesterday? This would be easy now, right? And if it had gone the other way, what happened? You get knocked out with break even, and you're like, oh, guess I didn't make money today. Oh, well. I had a good opportunity. So you should know how to scalp this. Right? Cool. Oh. Go out to meet you. Yeah, I'd be careful in here. Very, 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 very careful. Even though the scalps are there, boy, you're selling right into that support. If you had to, um, it almost did a 50%. Yeah, I'm going to have to go pretty soon. So yeah, be careful in here because what scalpers are going to do is they're going to want to take it down. But doesn't the 55 tell us it'll double top up in the red zone first? Isn't the gray zone a warning of support? Right? So I'd be careful in here. If you were going to try to be a bear, it's this level that just seems to be the better price, which is the 618. So if you had to be a bear, I'd rather sell a little bit higher, right? But that's going to be for you to decide. Like I said, I think the better trade would have been selling it yesterday, right? So, all right, I got to jump, babe. It was real. Thank you for hanging with me today on campus, Harvard University. Got to go find my class. And I really had hoped to walk in with my head high. And I just got my ass kicked on an exam. And now I have to go in there, humble pie. Please teach me something about macroeconomics. Gee whiz, I can believe it, right? I mean, this is my thing. Stupid Harvard idiots. I can't believe it. 20-year-old kicked my ass in macroeconomics. Little rich bitches, huh? So anyways, I gotta go eat some humble pie for breakfast. And then I have 200 pages and a paper to write before 5 p.m. this afternoon. And then I'm going to spend the entire weekend debating the minimum wage with a representative of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Yeah. And this professor, I have to go in there. Some people, PhD is enough, but he works at the Boston Fed, so he does this class in the morning and then zips over to the Boston Fed. Nice. So, humble pie, coffee for breakfast. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Thank you for your patience with me as I travel. Thank you for being a client of TradersWay, and thank you for posting your analysis on Forex.Today. Yeah. Take care, guys. Thanks again, huh?